Hello there. A while ago I purchased some more Argos returns, and finally I've got the time to go through them and see what needs doing to get them back in working order. The first item I'm going to take a look at is these Sony headphones. They're model number MDR-ZX310. Now these headphones are currently on sale in Argos, which is March 2025, for £18. So here they are, Sony MDR-ZX310. The returns label states plug issue, and I think that says jack head broken off, refund was issued, date reference was 10th of the 3rd 23, which I think was the return date, and the purchase date, it looks like there's an error with that because it says 1st of the 1st 70, which is obviously wrong. So let's get them out the box and have a look what's going on. Right, so they're out the box, let's have a look at them. Condition wise they're not too bad. There is some signs of use. Let's have a look at what's supposed to be the issue. There we go. That looks as if it's been pulled and bent or whatever. And the rest of the cable, there's some damage to the cable there as well. So I think the best policy would be to just replace the lead. So what I'm going to use to fix this is I purchased from eBay a RCA 3.5 stereo jack lead. So you've got your phono or RCA, whatever you want to call them, on one end, and on the other you got your 3.5 jack. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut these plugs off and then solder them to each earpiece of the headphones, and that will restore functionality. I have done one already because I've got 4 of these to sort out, and they go in nicely. I've used a little bit of glue on the outlet holes, even though there are some cable retainers inside there, and of course you've then got your 3.5 jack, and they look quite well, you know, they don't look as if somebody's bodged them up, put it that way. So let's have a look at how you go about it. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is remove the old cable. So I'm just going to snip them both off and leave a little bit and get that out of the way. Now to gain access to the back of the speakers, there's 2 screws under the cups. Now to gain access, we'll do the right one first. This is the right side. So you just gently pull the cup to get the piece that's tucked underneath out, but taking care not to rip it, and then that will give you access to the 2 screws. So we just take our screwdriver now and remove these 2 screws. Right, so once you've removed your 2 screws, you can then lift the speaker up, which will expose the rear where your soldered cables are. So we'll take our soldering iron and we'll just take the old cables off. That's 1, that's 2, and then we can take our speaker and pop it over there, and then all we need to do then is just pull the old cable out like that. Now you notice the old cable does have a knot in to stop it being pulled back, but the cables we're going to be using are a nice fit in there, and all it takes is a little bit of super glue just dropping onto the back there once we've soldered them in. So let's prepare the new cable. Right, so here's the cable we're going to be using. So we'll take our wire cutters. Now I'm cutting it off nearest the counter to the plug so that we get the most amount of cable. Now that does make it a little bit awkward when we come to strip the cable off, but I've just used a knife like this and go through this, something like that, and just peel it away till we get to the inside. It's just a way of getting the maximum amount of cable. And we'll do the same with the red side, which is going to be our right. Red for right is what I always say. So just peel it off. I mean, you could just cut it off flush with the end of the plug if you wanted, but I'm just trying to use as much cable as I can. So we just need to bear it like that till we get the two conductors. So there we've got the red and the green. We've now got our two sides, left and right. The red one will be our right. So what we do now, we fetch our cups back. Just expose a little bit of the conductors like so, and then we just need to tin them with a bit of solder. So I'm just going to put a bit of flux on there. So it's just a case of popping a bit of solder on them like that. That's all I need. So once you've done whichever side you're working on, you then need to thread it through the hole in the side like so. Now it's a good fit, this cable. I mean, the cable you use might not be as good a fit, and you might find you may have to put a little knot in it, but I'm just going to pull it through to give me enough to solder back onto our speaker. So our speakers are marked with the red indicating the positive side, which in our case is going to be this red cable. So it's just a case of soldering that to one side and the green one to the other side. So I'm just going to apply a little bit of flux to it before we do anything. And then we'll take our soldering iron. Now this can be tricky, but we're going to pull enough cable through. So here we go. This is the red one, the positive going on now. That's all it takes, one little dab. And this one will go on the other side. And that's it. That's our soldering done. So all we need to do now is feed the cable back into the, so we can get the headphone back in. or the speaker back in, I should say. And this is a bit tighter than the one I did last time, but it's going. Now, when you're putting it back, you need to get these lugs each side of the pillars where the screws go in. So just bear that in mind, that you've got enough slack to be able to turn them. Now I think that is roughly where I want to be, if I've got it the right way around. Hang on, what's going on here? Is that in? No, I've missed it. No. Can't tell whether I'm putting it in the right place. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's lined up there. So I know now that I'm in the right place. So all I'm going to do is get a bit of super glue and pop it onto the entry point. Okay, so all we need to do is just drop a little blob of super glue on the back of the hole, like that, and a little bit where the cable goes through, and then push your cable down into the slot like that. So it's gone between that like retainer there, and then all you need to do now is reassemble it. So it's just a case of lining up the way it came out. That's it. Then put your two screws back in. Like so. Now once your screws are in, all that's needed is to put your cut back on, and it's just a case of starting it off, getting the bit that goes behind, just getting it started, pushing it in to the gap where it came from, and just working it round, stretching it, but being careful obviously not to rip it, because if you rip it, well, you might as well have not bothered. It is a bit fiddly, but you just got to keep having a go at it until you get it all in. That's about right, I think. Just give it a bit of a, there we go. I think that's it, as it should be. Yeah, just keep working it about really till it, that's about as good as it gets. And that's all there is to it. There you go, it's coming out of there. You've got your bit of super glue to, it's pretty firm that. And then it's just a case of repeating it for the other side, for the left side, which I'm not going to show you. There's no point in me, but you've got the idea there of what needs to be done. So I hope that's been of some use to you. Many thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next one.